what are the best jobs that are going to allow you to travel? If you love traveling as much as I do, but you can't afford to just quit your job and buy that plane ticket and jump around the world, then here's the good news. You don't have to. You don't have to give up your paycheck in order to see the world. And if you are here, it's probably because you know just how valuable travel is, all the amazing growth, the people, the experiences. I don't need to explain that to you. That's probably why you're here. And in addition to that, you probably don't want to have to spend all of your hard-earned cash, not to mention your paid time off, just doing 1 or 2 vacations a year. You want travel or living abroad to become really part of your normal existence and experience. So why am I even talking about this? Well, in case you don't know me, I'm Dalia. I'm originally from Canada, but as you can probably tell from my accent, which has gotten a bit weird, I haven't actually been back to Canada in more than 15 years because I've been so busy working abroad and traveling over, I think I just said it, right? It's been about 15 years since I've been back. And what I do is I'm a communications specialist. I've been working with various international organizations, most of which has been with the UN, and that has led me to work in over 22 different jobs in more than 9 different countries. Those are countries I've actually worked in, but of course I've visited many more countries than that. So I'm a huge advocate of not only travel, but also living abroad and creating a life abroad and everything that entails. And I want to share with you a couple of ideas that can get the ball rolling, get you thinking about what might be the best fit for you to get working abroad. I'm going to start off with the more obvious ideas that you might have heard of before, and then we're going to get into the ones which might start to be a bit less obvious to you, and we're going to finish off with the ones which are my very favorites. They're the ones I use myself. They're the ones I usually show my clients how to do, because those are the ones that ensure you get paid really, really highly while you're traveling, as well as continue to build your career experience and leverage all the experience that you currently have. They're also the ones that work the fastest. So without further ado, let's dive in. Travel career idea number 1 is to become a flight attendant or do something with the aviation industry. I mean, I had to start with this one. Everyone thinks, okay, travel, flight attendant. It doesn't take a ton of training. It's relatively easy for most people to get into, and that's why most people think of it. But if being a flight attendant is not up your alley, you can also think about the aviation industry in general. There are all kinds of jobs within the aviation industry. Obviously, if you want to become a pilot, that's going to involve a lot of training, a lot of money, but there are other types of jobs that are going to allow you to travel without necessarily having to do tons and tons of extra training. So aviation could be something to think about. But if you are someone who prefers life on water versus life in the air, you might want to think about becoming someone working on a cruise ship, or what's called a yachtie, someone working on a yacht. There are different types of roles for someone on water. If you're on a cruise ship, all kinds of jobs for entertainers or for servers, and on yachts you can be a deckhand, someone actually working on the boat with the boat, or again you can be someone helping the clientele of the boat. I have met quite a few people who have worked on yachts or on cruise ships. There are of course pros and cons. The cons they've told me about are that it's a lot of work. So you do work long hours, they tend to be a bit underslept, but it is usually seasonal. So what they'll do is they will earn a lot of money while they're working hard, and then they'll save the money and kind of do what they want or do a different job for the rest of the year. Plus, when you're working on the cruise ship or working on the yacht, you have your room and board generally paid for. So, and then there aren't many spending opportunities, so you tend to save up quite a bit of money. You just want to be careful with this type of role and a couple of the other ones I'm going to mention, because I have talked to some people who have done that before, who a couple of years later, maybe they start getting tired, they want to transition into something that's going to be less seasonal, also less tiring, but then they only have experience in that, and it can be difficult to transition into something else. So whatever you decide to choose, you want to make sure that it's building your career and you're not as much as possible, right? There's a time and place to do it, yes, but as much as possible, you don't want to be doing like 1 year of this, 1 year of that, 3 years here, 3 years there, without having all of these career pieces cohesively come together. Now, if you're finding that you are in that situation and you have a ton of different career pieces that don't fit together, don't worry. That's a good situation in which you might want to contact me to help you to figure out your career story and figure out how is this going to be a cohesive experience for you to land that next role. But I'm digressing here. So let's move on to the next idea that I have for you. Another idea is to become a construction manager. Construction managers earn well and often need to relocate to different areas and stay for several months, if not several years, to oversee a project. And even if you don't have project management experience, you can look at other jobs within the construction companies like engineer, architect, or even various other support roles. So that's something else to consider. Another one is event coordinators. Event coordinators work on all kinds of different events. It could be parties, weddings, or orchestrating large-scale events and festivals, conferences, etc. Often you might need to meet with potential vendors from across the country or in other countries and then travel to locations to oversee everything from setup to breakdown. So definitely anything that has to do with events is something that would be worth considering. Now, let's talk about my favorite ways to go and work abroad. I've already touched on it a bit, but one thing you can do is to actually do exactly the thing that you're doing right now, but go and do it for another company abroad. So maybe the company you currently work for has offices in other locations. In that case, you want to start rebranding yourself, advocating for yourself so that they send you abroad, whether it's temporarily or permanently, depending on what you prefer. That's a great way to do it, is that to actually work for a company with various branches or various offices to advocate for them to send you somewhere. Maybe they start just sending you for a meeting here or there, but then you end up getting them to actually relocate you. Lots of benefits for that. From this, for example, usually they'll sponsor your visa, they can take care of relocation costs, you have that built-in community when you get there of colleagues, so that's a great way to do it. And if you're saying, well, my company just exists here, it doesn't have any other branches, no problem. Start networking with other companies abroad which are in your desired location, and you can get them to bring you over. Now, the other option, and don't discount this one, is to work remotely. So that's to negotiate to get your boss to allow you to work remotely, and then you can just go wherever it is that you want. And you might be saying, well, my job simply cannot be done remotely. I've tried, they said no. I have a lot of clients who told me at first, no way my job can be remote, but once they used the branding and negotiation skills that I showed them, then that completely changed the game, and those previously impossible to work remotely jobs became in fact remote for them. So don't discount the possibility. Often it is possible to work remotely, and if ever your company flat out refuses, even once you've rebranded yourself and everything, then it might be time to switch companies, because especially after the pandemic, so many companies are becoming open to remote work these days. So unless you're doing something that's completely manual labor or something like that, most of the time there are possibilities to work remote. So definitely think about that. Make sure you're not just discounting it automatically. There are so many ways to work abroad, so definitely don't let anyone ever tell you it's not possible. By the way, I've had clients with kids, I've had clients in all kinds of different situations, so truly, if it is a dream in your heart to be able to work abroad, don't let anyone tell you that it's not doable. You can absolutely make it happen. If you want to get more advice on how to brand yourself towards that dream job abroad, because a lot of the part of making that happen comes down to knowing your high value skill set, your specialization, and then being able to showcase your value to those international employers or to your current employers so that they send you abroad or allow you to work remotely. So if you want to know more about how to do that, I have a free class. I'm going to link it below so that you can grab that class and find out exactly how to steal these methods for yourself so you can get yourself abroad. So check out the class below, and also let me know in the comments what country, I'm actually curious, what country do you most want to be able to travel to or to be able to work in? Let me know there, join the class, and yeah, and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet, because I'm gonna have lots more advice for you. And yeah, sending good career vibes your way, and I'll see you in the next video.